Okay. So today's discussion will be about, since it is, let me restart this video. This will be cut. Okay, today's segment opens up. Today is March 3rd. I didn't know this until this morning because I clearly don't keep track of the news very well.
I mean this afternoon.
This afternoon. I'm sorry. This afternoon.
It's Women's History Month.
It's Women's History Month, guys.
You know what that means?
So
we need to talk about why you should hate women.
No.
What do you mean? We should hate women.
No.
Women are the root of all suffering on this planet.
No.
Babies.
What?
Women are demons.
If you think about it logistically, women give birth to people like Adolf Hitler.
Hitler was a woman. Hitler was a little bitch. He was a woman.
No. Women give birth to people that do horrible things.
I don't find the concept of Women's History Month very inclusive.
Neither do I. I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to bargain. But if you'd love to take us down our discussion earlier just a little bit, I'd like to hear from you because I do quite a bit of talking, I feel. Maybe I don't do enough. Maybe I do too much. But let's get your opinion on the general subject, and then I'll go to my opinion, and I'll try to explain it in depth.
Well,
and make it raw.
I haven't really thought much about the
you don't have
general problem, but you don't really have to. So on the bus,
right? Because we've experienced.
I told Gio that it's Women's History Month, and he said, "Oh hell no! Oh hell fucking no!" And I think that one of his flaws is that he's very general and aphoristic with everything he says. So when he reaches his audience, it comes off in a very raw manner, which not a lot of people are accustomed to. So the bus driver gets mad at him, right? And she's visibly fucking pissed because he's insulting.
100%.
He's insulting, her gender. Okay.
Not really, but that's what she.
That's how she perceived it because he was being,
of course,
so general with it.
So
didn't
raw.
Really get into his.
I got the information up front. Not like these pussies who don't cancel me, please. Logan Paul.
Why are you? Shut up.
There's someone hanging.
Shut up. So basically,
good.
I kind of do some of these episodes where I let Gio talk like this because it's kind of a form of learning for me when I have these discussions. So I really, really haven't thought much about this, but I think that I can understand the viewpoint of, separating these months, Black History Month, Women's History Month. All you're really doing is breeding the diversity between these classes. What? Breeding, yes. You're breeding the diversity.
Alright, go ahead.
Okay, because all people really use these months, I mean, you know this if you're in school, all people use these months to do is really make fun of shit. Teachers don't do shit. What teacher has did anything for Black History Month? They put a picture of like George Floyd up on the Promethean board.
They made their children do projects.
I didn't do any projects.
I did 4 projects on Black
History Month. No, teacher slapped something on the board and said, hey, this guy, he was black.
Not for me. I did projects. Really what History Months were for was to bring recognition to things that weren't recognized in any regard whatsoever. So the late 70s was the first time a Women's Day, Women's Month, Women's Inclusion Act of government interference in events in history came into play. It was around 1979 that the women's movement for a month, for a global day of recognition came into place. And it is global, which is even a little bit even sadder because then, you really get a feel for the entirety of the system and the discrimination in the system is really what it is. But the late 80s, around, I don't remember when, I only know so much. Around the late 80s, though, which is not a guess, I believe around the late 80s, from what I've learned, was the first time that Women's History Month was celebrated, and it was, I don't remember which president put it into play that it was going to be a History Month, but it was going to be a History Month because he felt that it wasn't enough, inclusion, right? Because there wasn't enough inclusion. The women's suffrage movement, women needed to be stand out, to be recognized. Just that's it. And Black History Month was made for recognitions by basically respecting these two people, specifically two people. I don't remember which two people it was on throughout Black History Month.
Seems like
because
there's
they
a lot
made
you don't know.
because they made. Well, I don't know a lot about history months, but I do know.
So you don't like history months.
I don't. I think they're.
And that's what I was saying before that I was restating your
Right.
point. That was your point that you
I
made
think-
earlier to me.
I think they're completely irrational. I think they're completely garbage because.
They breed the diversity.
Right. There's no better way to say that kind of. I mean, I'm going to say it how I'm going to say it, and what I'm going to say is this. When you have a history month, and you have something that one group is worshiping, and I'm going to use that word loosely there, but they are worshiping this thing, that they need, and they need is this push to make it all-inclusive, so that everyone in that group can participate. Now, notice how I said in that group. Everyone in that group can participate. Everyone in that, but everybody needs to play the game. Everyone needs to play the game, but everyone in that group can participate. Now, you can be one of those people who, when it's Women's History Month, go out and say, oh, it's Women's History Month, it's Women's History Month. Let me support the act because we want to support this. But I'm telling you, you're not supporting women. What I'm telling you and many others, if you wake up, are telling you is that you're not supporting women. What you're doing is you're supporting a false agenda made by governments, made by people in power, people who want you to be split apart, to split you apart. What they do is they make
That's all that's doing.
they make separation movements.
Diversifying.
Right. They make these all-inclusive
And it's not diversified
months.
inclusivity. It's just diversification. There's no inclusivity involved in this.
There's no togetherness, which is what the supposed goal of everyone is in the system, because it's very much a system. It's a ploy for money, for power, for recognition for those who are in power, because it's not a recognition for the common folk, for the common women who work every single day doing their jobs, serving for themselves, being respectful, respecting themselves. What it is it's a ploy, and it's a means to try to convince others to turn on each other. So they have a Black History Month to create diversity. They have a Black History Month so that we can recognize black people, but if there was a White History Month, that would be completely ridiculous because white people were never enslaved. White people are the demons. Now imagine if we switch that back, which we have throughout history. I'm not denying that, but also through history, white people have become demonized. Black people become demonized. Just end it all. Morgan Freeman talks about this. Why is there a Black History Month? It's completely irrational, and what it is it's, if there was a White History Month, I'd be pissed. What are we celebrating White History Month? There's 4 billion white people. What does it matter? 4 billion! Do you think all of them are going to wake up, the kids in Africa who are starving, and be like, oh, well, at least there's a Black History Month? At least there's a Black History Month where I can celebrate that, where they're totally not trying to make us more diverse and making sure that I can't have someone next to me that respects the same belief I respect because they don't know what I'm talking
I've never met
about.
a black person that likes Black History Month.
Because it's pointless, and what it does is it splits us up. If I was to talk to someone I truly care about who is a black individual and ask him what he thinks about Black History Month, he would say exactly what I would think about White History Month. It's completely pointless and it splits us up. And that's what the point I'm trying to make. Not that women are horrible, because I've never said that, ever.
No, I hate women here on this channel. We're misogynists.
You could be whatever you want to be.
No,
Okay.
You're a misogynist.
Well, that's what they want you to think, right?
No, you hate women.
Okay. But I do hate Women's History
Thick
Month.
skull. Your man skull. Your thick man skull. That you
Yeah.
hate women.
No, but really what it is I come here and I was like, I need to film this because I need to talk to people about the difference that I'm speaking of. Because even on the bus, and you can say exactly what people said, even to your own girl.
Yeah.
like come on now. Even the own people that our own people that look to us, we look to them. If they're a woman, sometimes they get what we call let's give it a name.
Irrational.
No, they're blinded. But let's give it a name. What are they blinded by? Truth.
Blinded
Truth.
by inclusivity.
Well,
I don't know.
they're blinded by comfort. because they're given this comfort that, oh, you're going to get a month dedicated to you and your people, but you haven't done shit. You haven't done shit. You don't do anything to deserve a Black History Month. You weren't one of those people who fought for Black history. You weren't enslaved, but you're going to get a month for everything you didn't fucking do. Everything you didn't fucking do, you're still going to get a month. You're going to get a month. And all you fucking gay people, you're going to get a fucking month too. You're going to get a month too. Let's give everybody a month. And at that point, it gives it no meaning.
Well, you don't have enough months for everyone.
Right. You don't have enough months for everyone, one. Two, it gives it no meaning.
Like
if you were to give
Like your dad was saying, when are we going to have Gay Dwarf Clown Month?
Because it doesn't... Well, he was making a joke, but it doesn't...
No, but seriously, when are we going to have it? I'm waiting.
Right, but it doesn't matter, is the thing. You're going to make it so much... You're going to try and make everyone included, and what you're doing is making everyone included, you're bringing everyone together, and they don't want that, because if you bring everyone together, then there's enough people that'll stand up and wake up and be like, this system is fucked, we're in an economic deprivation of life, mortality, succession, prestige, all of those things I just listed, going down the slope. And if everyone was to wake up and realize that together we're stronger, then the government would be in total anarchy, and we can't have that. So we have to appease these people. We have to give them what they want. You want a month? Here's a month. Here's a month here and there. Give them a month. Give them a day. Give them a day. Make a Women's Day. Make sure that everyone realizes it's Women's Day. Not that we're trying to separate men and women, because as soon as they separate men and women don't stick together, and as soon as they separate men and women now, it's what they're doing is they're lowering the amount of people that they have to fight for an army, but they're also lowering the votes, the negative votes. They're lowering, and they don't want the smart, intelligent people to have kids. They want them to have double income, no kids, because you can't afford kids. Kids are impossible to afford now. They don't want you to have kids. They want the smart, intelligent people to get double income, no kids. They want them to be together because they're going to get double income, no kids. That's it. They want them to buy in the capitalist economy. They want them to buy stuff off of the companies. That's what they want. But as soon as people wake up and they're like, wait a minute, they're making these diverse clubs, companies, months, days, so that we can have diversity, but I haven't seen any of you people come together, and it's only been people of the same group, not different groups, being included. Well, that's weird. That means that there's separate groups, and if there's 12 months, and there's 12 different groups, you've just split every peoples of this world into 12 different groups. How are we going to be unified? How are we going to rebel against an unfair, unjust system? That's my question. Not everyone can wake up. Not everyone can look at themselves in the mirror in the morning and be like, listen, I know the truth. I still have to do this, but I know the truth. Let me hear your take, please.
Well, firstly, I want to apologize for just throwing jokes in the whole time. But I'm not really good at these subjects. Your strength is primarily political. I'm very fundamentalist.
This doesn't even have to be political. You could be a realist and talk about this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess my heart's not in it. I don't disagree with anything you said, and I don't really have anything else I think valuable to add for it because my knowledge goes to the extent which you've already expressed.
Let's highlight some of the things. Because you know exactly, like, I could tell them exactly what I said. What I said was,
okay, well,
yes, give us the
I'll do what I'm good at.
From your perspective.
I'll do what I'm good at to help people comprehend what you were saying. I think diversify is a word that I don't think we need to change it, but I think we need to explain what we mean by the word diversify, because diversity is not bad, but it's diversity without unification that causes the problems that you're talking about, and that's what people need to understand when you're talking. Yep. I think diversity is a misunderstood term because people hear diversity and think, oh yeah, we're going to have a diverse community and things are going to be good because we're going to be accepting of all people. But when you create this diversity and you create all these different, genders and shit, dare I say genders and shit, because for lack of a better example, you just create more groups for people to argue about, bullshit for people to argue about, like you said, so that they can't rebel against the government, because that's what real unification would do. Anytime there's been real unification throughout history, it's always in the form of a revolution. Because you need to overthrow a system.
Or extreme nationalism.
Because you need to overthrow a system to create a system. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have anything to add.
Right, he said it pretty justifiably in his own way that he could make comprehensible to anyone watching, but I think I put the gist in very well in 15 minutes that we had here. I think there's nothing else further discussion needs to be said except to highlight the fact that when I was on the bus, I didn't even get the chance to talk before I was shut up. And I kept looking back at you, and you were getting your mouth shut.
Yeah, I was literally getting my mouth shut.
And I was just going to keep talking. He knew I was just going to keep talking. I don't give a shit. As much as I respect my bus driver, because everyone has to work, there has to be slaves in the system. And we can go deeper into that. You probably know more about that than I do.
Slaves in the system? Why do you think I know more about that?
Because you were a fucking slave. You used to watch porn and jerk off every day.
Yeah. I do know lots about
that. I mean, I've never woken up one day and been like... sometimes I wish I could. I've never woken up one day and been truly fascinated with the fact of, oh, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to go work. And then I'm going to go get a job. It just doesn't sit right with me. I'd rather be homeless. Not to say that I would ever want to be, because I truly would work hard to my dreams and aspirations, but it would be better than living blind. So I think really what it is, when I got told to... he literally was shutting up, and people are told to shut up. It's really bad, because there's no unity in that. And when enough people tell you to shut up, you start believing that you should shut up. And that should never happen. I think everyone's voice is a justifiable point, because I can only say so much before I'm wrong, before I slip up, before I get a point wrong, before I can't explain something to someone who doesn't get it. And that's the beauty of inclusion and unification, because together we are stronger, but they don't want you to do that, because together is strength. They don't like strength. They like seeing weak people. They keep pouring around for weak people. And as soon as you undo something that makes people weak, you're told, oh, well, you're a MAGA supporter, you're a Trump supporter, you're a male, you're a strong male. Of course, you're a misogynist, you're a horrible person in general. I think it's wrong. I think assumptions are very dangerous. Throughout history, assumptions have been very dangerous, and categorization is very dangerous, which is exactly what they're doing right now. Since the 80s, even before that, they've categorized people into systems.
That's the word I was looking for.
Categorize. Right. Into a system to make sure that you fall into a group, and when you don't fall into a group, well, you go over there. You're crazy. You don't fall into a group, you're crazy. You go over there. So, I mean, there's a lot of messed up stuff about that.
Well, you don't fall into a group, they put you in a group. Crazy. Crazy people.
Right.
You can't really avoid being part of a group.
Right, you have to be.
You have to create so many so that they're small enough that they can't.
Oh, absolutely. But what I find fascinating is that in other countries, this women's rights, this bullshit that they complain about.
Talk about your sub today.
Yeah, so women's rights is not bullshit. That's good. But they have to realize who gave them the rights was the men who needed to give them the rights to restore prosperity in America. That's why American women have rights to vote, because they wanted them. They were gifted them in exchange for their services and their working and their loyalty to their state. It's a nationalistic, rich, powerful, executive point of view. And as soon as they start to say, and I hear women on my bus in my life say that, oh, well, you're never going to get laid because you don't respect women at all.
That's not true.
I never said I didn't respect women. I have a mother who I care about. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cleaned the piss off the floor. There's a finite line between not caring and waking up. And it's impossible to talk to a person who isn't fully awake. There's some people who are very awake, who are almost there. I don't know what flipped the switch for me. I don't know what flipped the switch for him. But I have no clue. That has a whole different subject. That has a whole different lining. But going back into it, you hear from women today that are telling you you're this, you're that as a man. But as soon as a man turns to a woman and says, no, you're wrong, they break down, they blame you, and they don't even take you for what you're worth. And it's completely ridiculous to not accept somebody else's point of view. It's completely ridiculous, which is a horrible thing, and that's where a slave in the system is born. That's where somebody who's like, oh, I'm just gonna go out, I'm gonna get a house, I'm gonna get a family, that's it, is created. And a psychopath is also created, because a psychopathic person is someone that truly believes that their point of view is right and that no one else's is justified. They believe that they are in the right no matter what without hearing anyone else's points. That's psychopathic in my eyes. I don't know about you. To only believe in yourself, your own mind, because then you're only receiving your own thoughts. You're not even receiving a comparison. There's no compassion for anyone. There's no unification. You're completely diverse. I've seen thousands of people in my life that I've talked to take in no one's opinion and then wonder why they're not succeeding in life, and they come running to me. Oh, I have a problem. I have a problem. Huh?
You're stomping a lot.
I have a problem. I have a problem. I have a friend, Jeremiah, who came to me 4 months ago right now. 4 months ago, actually, probably today, because it was the first of the month. And he came to me and he was like, oh, I want to get strong. I want to get big. I want to get girls. I want to get,
to me too.
I want to get money. And I'm glad that we've spun this to create not only more time to talk about the importance and value of unification, but the importance and value of self-determination and strength. Because when you do this act of it's a rebellion. It's a rebellion
Do
talk.
you want to talk about Jeremiah? I feel like he's a good.
Sure, but to talk how I talked on the bus is a rebellion.
Yeah.
And as soon as you wake up and realize that, that's why our bus driver, who, like I said, I respect as a person and an individual, she's not a bad person whatsoever, but she is a slave in the system. She's a fucking rat in the system. Sorry. She plays the game, she goes home, she sleeps. She plays the game, she goes home, she sleeps. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. We need those people. Those people are the strongest. Those people are the best in our life. I'll become one of those people to start out. Everyone does. Everyone does. The best do. Most successful companies start in a fucking garage. So it's irredeemably stupid to say, but I'm not one of those people. I'm not going to work for the... Yes, you are. You're going to work for the system. You're going to work for the system because the system is undeniably there. And unification is what will destroy your... I'm going to escape the Matrix, bro. I've had Jeremiah tell to me multiple times.
You were the same way. I think that...
No.
Shut up. I think you were the same way.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
I think that Jeremiah is going to make it.
I don't think he's going to do shit.
Well, that's what I thought about you, too. You know how many times you fucking quit on me?
We have two different views. So that's good.
But you're not considering Jeremiah's view. See, here's the thing.
No, I'm not.
The reason you hate Jeremiah so much is because he reminds you of yourself.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
He has no intellect.
He reminds me of you.
He has no form of compassion, though.
Neither did you.
I do.
No, neither did you. I'm not saying you don't.
No, I did have compassion. I had too much of it. I was a bitch. I was one of those...
And so was Jeremiah.
I was, but I wasn't that much, because I was lucky and fortunate enough to grow up in a household with two loving parents, a brother who I needed to keep in check, and responsibilities at home. Jeremiah is much different. Jeremiah's household situation, which I don't want to discuss because it's personal and that would be.
Well, everyone has a different
irrational to me.
path. You know, the people who grow up the most irresponsible learn responsibility to the highest degree.
Right. I mean, not really. Because people who learn responsibility to the highest degree hold themselves accountable in everything they do in life, which for me, I can't do all the time. I told you about it. I told you that.
Well, no one can do it all the time.
I told you if I did it like how some people do it, which I'm amazed. Some people go into school, they get 90s, they get 100s, they go home. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Don't miss a single day. They don't even give themselves a break, which is extreme responsibility and commitment. I could never do that. Never. And there's real people that do it. And you said no one could do it. There's real people that do it. I've talked to them.
When did I say no one could do it?
And you just said that. Well, no one could do it. Hold themselves to the utmost accountability.
That's not the utmost accountability because you don't know what's going on.
For them it is, which is crazy because
they're not accountable to their existence. They're accountable to their grades.
I couldn't.
You're always missing out on something if you're giving into one thing. So while Jeremiah's not giving into, these definable metrics of success, he's being a dickhead right now.
He's not being a dickhead.
He is being a dickhead.
He's hanging out with fucking gangsters and shit, thinking that he's one of them.
But he's not. I see myself in him on the contradiction of one point. He is a horrible liar.
So were you.
I used to be a great liar, enough to the point where I lied out of a lot of situations. I lied to make myself almost...
No, I could see through all your lies. Your words were always so
Maybe
empty.
you could.
I
But
could.
everyone
Because I was the
sees
one
your
slapping
lie.
the shit out of you when I saw you on your phone and telling you to do push-ups.
You could.
And you know what?
lie.
You know what? The student has become the master because now you're in the position where you need to slap the shit out of him and tell him to do the push-ups.
But you're lucky. You're lucky. Because you, if not for me, you would have fallen so far down just with me. Because you would have been looked at as weird. You would have been looked at as stupid. And if I wouldn't have followed you,
I
probably
know
wouldn't
how
have
to
followed
use
you.
all that. Well,
But at a point, you were reverting back. And you can't deny
How?
that you were reverting back.
How?
Because you stopped working out. When you
When
got
did I
that
stop
shoulder
working
injury, you remember that?
when I got that, I couldn't work out. That was my rotator cuff.
Yeah, but that was bad, bro. You fell off for 2 months.
No, 2
Even
weeks.
now-
What do you mean 2 months? When
It was-
did that happen?
It was like 2 months.
I don't remember that.
And you let me play Pokemon Go because there was nothing that was going to stop
Because
me.
I gave up on you. And
Right.
remember, you tried with Jeremiah and you've now given up on him.
And there's nothing that could have... But you didn't give up on me. You didn't give up on
For
me.
a period of time. And you know what? You're saying the same things about Jeremiah. That in the period of time where I had given up on you, I said to Pablo,
But
I
you
talked about you the way we talk about Jeremiah. And then guess what happened?
But what you can't do is tell me that I have to accept Jeremiah the way I accepted you.
You don't have to accept Jeremiah at all.
Because-
You just have to
Because
acknowledge
he-
the fact that he's on his own path.
I acknowledge that, and I'm telling you what path it is, and I'm telling you from past history. That path is a horrible path. It's a horrible path, and I'm going to tell you
That
why
path
it's a
is the
horrible
path
path.
that I was on when I was his age. Well, a little bit younger than him. You know, I used to
Hey,
hang...
do you notice the difference here?
What?
You have 2 parents.
That doesn't matter.
You have 2 siblings. Don't even say that doesn't matter. Don't even say that doesn't matter. That 100% matters.
There's people who
He's
have
talked
had it
to
worse
me,
and done it better.
and then he's not going to be one of them. So then you just contradicted
He
your own
could
point.
be. He could be.
That's up to speculation. My hypothesis here is, and it always has been, the more influence, the more support you have in your life, the worse you turn out, the worse you become.
So that contradicts your point because he has less influence and support. If he doesn't have parents, he doesn't have siblings. He has one sister.
No, he has siblings. That's what I mean. He has a sibling, which is meaning if you
his cousin, right?
yeah, and what he's doing is he's just following over bad examples. If you teach a baby to do something,
But that's
a
the
baby
thing.
will
He
do it forever.
understands that, and he's asking to change.
No, not anymore. He's done. He's done with it. I never in my life
And you were done
stopped.
with it. And you were done with it for a period of time.
Never.
Yes, you were.
I never wasn't thinking about it, and I never was so much.
He still texts me about shit, and as long as it's in his mind.
Well, I heard him today on the bus.
What'd he say?
And he was like, "Oh, Christian was making a joke. He's a really funny guy.
Yeah.
He was sarcasm. He's a fucking idiot. I have no
Okay, what did Jeremiah say?
I have no rationale for what I'm about to say, but he said something that was so scary, it was almost crazy. Christian was like, "Then go beat up Giovanni." Jeremiah's like, "No, I couldn't. He'd be on my back." That is so scary to think about. Never once, when you slap me, was I like, "Ooh, if I slap him back, he's gonna do something." Where did that fear come from? It's like it's scary for me to think that he gets that afraid. He's so afraid of you too, more than me. He's afraid of you
Really?
because you can tell him what he already knows. I can tell him what he doesn't know. Telling him what he already knows is much more scary because
Bringing
he
it to
knows,
light, yeah. The fear.
It gets me afraid because then he's so childish. He's signing up for things right now that change the course of his life. Never once when I was with you did I sign up for fucking gangs. Where the fuck do you go wrong? How do you mess it up that bad? You're going down the right path. I'm working out with him every night. Every night. I give up on him. He starts going down slowly. And then he texts me one day. Yo, what up, blood?
I think he's just looking for something interesting.
I was playing Pokemon Go.
What, he texted
He's
you?
No, he's in fucking gangs. At his age, I was playing Pokemon Go. Now you have to compare yourself. What were you doing? You were slapping people. You were. And no matter how you spin it, he's like maturing way too slow. And I told him that, and he was like, I know, bro, I know. Except he doesn't. He's thinking he knows. Because like I said, you can tell him what he knows. I tell him what he doesn't know. He didn't give a shit.
You know, I can't really argue that.
He didn't give a shit when I tell him something. Because he respects you, because you did it to someone else. He wants to be a mentor without getting through he wants to be a player without being a rookie. And that's what pisses me off.
So do you think all hope is lost for him?
You're a product of your environment. He chose the wrong environment. All hope is not lost.
But you have no idea, though. That's what I cannot fathom the idea that someone can't change. I cannot
fathom the idea.
You look online, you can
going down
see
this
some
route.
fucking amazing. Well, of course you can fathom it. It's a possibility.
Clearly.
It's a clear possibility. But I've still seen some amazing shit. If you look online, and I know you've seen some amazing shit too. I've
been around the world. So
I believe completely what Marcus Aurelius said. If it's humanly possible, you can do it too. And if it's humanly possible for him to change, then I think he can. Not that it's likely.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm saying you're a product of your environment. 100%.
I think he's going to be a unique circumstance for everything that he's going to put himself through going down this path. So at best, he is going to be a tragedy to reflect on for everyone else or for himself. And if it's for himself, then that's his first piece of wisdom right there. And if it takes him to the age of 20 when he's fucking strung out doing coke and shit, then so be it. But if he lets that wake him up, which I think he has the awareness to do.
But you can't think that. You don't know.
Well, I don't know, but still a possibility, yeah? You don't know anything that's going to happen. Life makes sense looking backwards. That's why you experience shit, and then you look back, and then it's like, oh, that's why that happened.
That's why I say shit that I say. And I find you're way more reserved than me no matter which way you spin it. You gotta be way more reserved than me. You gotta be. Because internally, you have a lot more to lose. This is a very famous quote. A man with a lot more to lose is a man that doesn't take chance, a man that doesn't take opportunity, a man that doesn't take will.
So do you think that a man should have a lot or a little? I think a man should have a little.
I think you should have what you want. That's my answer. It's not a philosophical answer. I'm not going to sit here and say they ought to be how one should be.
Well, it is a philosophical answer because then you go into what do you want? Because Jeremiah thinks he wants to be in a fucking gang.
And snort coke, yeah, I guess.
He's dealing with coke now.
Yeah, I guess, right? The problem I see here is being open gets you killed.
Yeah.
Being a politician is a dangerous job. Telling anybody what they don't want to know is a dangerous job. I tell people what they don't know, and then I tell people the hard reality, and they don't like that. They don't like when especially the bus driver, didn't like when I was talking about how women's rights and women's movements were a men's doing.
But that's true.
No matter how true it may be, imagine if I woke up one day and said your mother died. That would be so it would be so I can't even speak on that because it would be unfathomable, even though we know it's going to happen, because we don't. The reason for unfathomable after death is we don't know what's going to happen. That's why that's unfathomable. And then you say your mom is dead. You're never going to talk to her again.
Death is the reason anything becomes unfathomable.
Right.
If you understand death, and you understand everything.
Yeah. So that's why I compare it to that. So that's what it's like for them to think about it, and I can't put it into my mind anymore. And the way I put death into my mind is like going back to the womb. You don't think of anything in the womb. And yesterday I was like trying to remember.
You want to hear something philosophical? I have a philosophical answer for you.
Did I remember anything in the womb? No. But death is the desire to return back to that of nothingness. So that's my intention of why it's unfathomed.
So, assuming that you arrive from nothingness and you return to nothingness,
Dust to dust.
dust to dust, do you think
Boy.
that it matters which direction you choose? Right? Whether you run from birth or you run from death. You run back towards birth by slowly growing into a more immature person, like you're saying Jeremiah is. He's maturing slowly. In some ways, he's regressing. Okay? Regression versus progress.
Not really, though.
No, just for thought. Regression versus progress. Does it matter if you completely derail your life or if you make it to the end of the tracks? If you end up at the same place?
Railing wouldn't be at the same place.
Well, it is.
Nope.
Because it's a circle. Because the train tracks go in a circle. So if you derail it and you fall into the middle of the circle.
I'm talking about a straight track here, man. Life's a sequence. That's what we're going.
Sequence has to be cyclic.
Analogy, we're going straight. Train diverts, train stops there. Let's say you die at fucking 22 because you're being a fucking retard.
Mm-hmm.
You live to 100. You get off at the end of the tracks.
You die. It's the same place.
No.
It's not.
Let me speak. There is no end of the
Do you remember?
Train tracks don't end.
Do you remember when you talked about time and place?
Yeah.
And how they're not
it's
interconnected?
The same analogy I'm using here.
So if you're dying, it doesn't matter where the tracks end. Remember what I said to you in the last episode. The end is wherever you make it.
Well, yeah, but I think, and what I'm gonna say here.
We're making this too complicated.
No, we aren't. This is baseline stuff. As soon as you play God and you think you're above what you know, you're out. And what I mean by that is you can guarantee yourself a spot in hell if you do some dumb shit like Jeremiah's doing. You have to be irrefutably fucking stupid to die at 20. Or unlucky.
But what's the difference? The difference is heaven or hell.
And that's what you believe in. And Jeremiah has no belief system. And I didn't want to go into anything religious because this is not supposed to be really religious episode whatsoever. But everything goes back to religion because we can't explain it. Notice that. We can't explain it, so we use heaven or hell.
It's not because you can't explain it. It's because religion is a fundamental construct of man's understanding.
Because we can't explain it.
Yeah, because
Well, no, it's a balance, just like heaven and hell.
Right.
Right. It's a balance that mediates your known world. Unknown and known is a balance that mediates your consciousness.
And what is unknown is that at any moment, I think this every single day of my life, because even with OCD, I can't control everything that comes and goes. If a meteorite were to come through the ceiling right now and kill me right now, at 3811, boom, I would have been dead. Let's play this out. 3811, I would have been dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have died. Boom, that's it. That would be the end. Now, let's say Jeremiah, right? He's doing these horrible things. He lives to 22.
Okay.
He overdoses.
Yeah.
He beat me on the train tracks.
Doesn't matter. Not in my opinion.
But you're not at the destination.
There is
Did
no
you
destination.
did
See,
you
that's what I
get to the
explained.
there is. Did you get to the train station, heaven or hell?
You said there is no train station.
There is no train station. Did you get to the train station? Heaven or hell? I'm gonna let that marinate. I don't know if you know what I mean. What I mean is, you're dead. It doesn't matter. You can't think about it. That's the ideology. It didn't matter what you did right here, because you're on a different plane.
Therefore, it's the same because knowledge is time and place.
That's why I went back to the time and place analogy. That's why I said that's what I'm about to explain. It's just, and we can't go into the circle, because that was very much a circle, but it's also a straight track. And I hope that was a pretty a logical way of explaining what the difference when you asked me, because you asked me what I think Jeremiah's versus someone like myself's path is going to be different. but it's really not. But it really is. It is right here, not right there. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense, but it's
Is there and there.
yeah. It's a comprehensible basic of understanding. Anything else? Because I really want to hear, because you were saying Jeremiah could be this rich billionaire. Let's hear about it.
Let's hear about it. Well, I'm just saying.
I'd love to hear from Jeremiah. I like money. What value does he have to bring to the table right now?
None. He's building it.
What value do I have to bring to the table right now?
None. You're building it.
And you?
Building it.
What's the table? You are all playing on a different table. Stop trying to categorize yourself with other people. When you do that, you're trying to move from your table life has dealt you to another table. That would be like me getting up in the middle of a blackjack game and going to go play poker, but I'm still playing the blackjack game, losing money. I'm undoing what I'm doing. What pisses me off so much about Jeremiah is that he undoes that, unrealizing he's undoing that.
He's not building. None of us are building success. We're building the table.
He just thinks that because he's going forward, that means something. But what he's doing is he's spinning a wheel in the air. If you spin a wheel in the air, where do you go?
No. You don't understand. What he's building is the table that he's not yet playing on.
Not even. He's not even there. He's not built shit. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He's spinning a wheel in the air that's going nowhere. He hasn't touched the ground.
He's not playing the game. He's a cutscene. Neither are you. Neither am I. I don't think you understand what I mean.
I understand what you mean from a logical sense, not from the illogical standpoint that we have any. We have all the power.
To me, it depends on what you mean by playing the game.
We have all the power.
I am the game. Playing the game.
You are the fucking game. You are the game. You are the kill yourself right now. The game ends. The game ends if you kill yourself. Remember that.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
I do understand, but it means no value to what I said prior.
Yes, it does.
It means no value to what I said prior. He has no foundation. Zero foundation. And he's not building a foundation either.
That's what you don't... Yes, he is.
He's not.
You don't need knowledge to build a foundation. You need idiocracy to build a foundation. Because everything you know...
If I came to you one day and told you all of life's mysteries, all the exact time the Titanic sank, what happened on the Apollo missions, what did the moon look like, telling you what it's made out of, you want to go 10 million light years away, what really happened to the dinosaurs, how was the universe created? If I gave you all of these, you would have no search and you'd still have no foundation. Now you just know shit.
That's an irrelevant point.
But that's what you just said. You just said knowledge.
Well, because if you go to that level on any degree, you destroy everything. So you just...
So what does it matter?
No, listen, by making that point, you just destroyed everything you said prior. That's why we're not going this. This is our problem.
But that's fine.
We go too abstract. I'm talking about a simplistic explanation.
I can't do that for you.
His path. No, well, no one can do it. Not if you look too high.
I can't do that for you.
Well, I can. And that's what I've been trying to explain this whole time.
But not to me. You gotta explain it to them. Because I'm never gonna be... Maybe you can sit here and fantasize about Jeremiah.
No, I'm talking about possibility. We talked about this before. It's possibility. I'm not trying to make a literal answer for you about the table or the man or who's playing on the table, what's going on.
That was the best analogy I gave yet for his life. And what I'm trying to say here is...
That's an analogy you can give for anyone's life, though. So what do you really mean?
Everyone's life is interconnected.
Exactly.
That's it. Boom. That's what this whole conversation originated from. How it's pointless to judge others for something they don't even realize when they're in it too. We are all in the game. What is the game? You're the game. You could kill yourself. The game ends because there is no game. You're back in the womb. Done. That's it. You can't think about it. Maybe you can't think about it, but I sure can. It's like zero, nothing. And the best way I've heard someone describe it is not exactly how I'd describe it, or any of the best scientists, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Albert Einstein, would describe it. But imagine being blind. It's like seeing out of your elbow. Can you do me a favor real quick and look out your elbow?
Yeah, we've done this before.
Right. Now, many of you are not going to get this. Now look at your elbow, and that's death. It's non-existent. That is what death means. It's true non-existence. And I don't even know how we got to the topic of death, because that's where all roads lead.
Mm-hmm.
All tracks lead there. That's the train station. There's no train station right now, and I want you guys to get this, because there's no train station right now. The track you're on in life, there's no train station, man. Just keep going. Keep pushing. Keep thriving. But at the end of the night, or even right now, what happens. When you get to the eye looking out of the elbow, you're going to get to the train station.
I think we've reached the point where we've gone in a full circle, and that about wraps up one expansion of said
We
circle.
have done the circle.
I just want to articulate, because I feel like, just with no judgment, what I was trying to say, even if it doesn't apply to your analogy
Right,
and
that's
your
why you're
understanding,
explaining.
can I try and explain what I was trying to say, even though I didn't do it too well?
Yeah, realize.
So, through my interpretation, what I was trying to say, without any contradiction, is that Jeremiah's mistakes and things, and I'm talking about potential, and I'm not looking for argument or anything, I'm just speaking purely my interpretation.
Can you please give characteristics of Jeremiah? Because we didn't do that.
Jeremiah is small, he smokes a lot of weed, he thinks he's in a gang, he has dark skin,
No.
it's like
He's mixed.
he's mixed,
Yeah.
dark-ish skin, a little on the darker side, that doesn't matter. Black History Month.
Well, it's all circles, so.
Okay.
Like,
To me, the building of the table represents his mistakes. And him building the table is him just experiencing all of this bullshit. Okay? Him thinking he's in a gang, him making all these mistakes, smoking all this weed. And then once you get on top of the table, once it's fully built and you've made enough mistakes to realize that you've built this table and
when
you
is
can
enough?
you can take from all of these mistakes and you can play a game on top of this table. That's what playing the game means to me. Playing the game does not mean action. Playing the game to me means realization. And then doing shit like this, where you take from all your mistakes, because all of our knowledge is coming from our mistakes and our unknowns. And you take from it, and then you play a game on top of the table. Which is a potentiality, because you could get to the top of the table and be like, nah, I'm tired. And a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I go to bed tired.
That's why it's potentiality. If it's humanly possible, you can do it too. That's all I wanted to say. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. And yes, everything you said still stands, and I think you should still consider everything that we talked about, because there's lots.
And
to
if
be
it wasn't for the
explored.
contradicting views, this episode would have been 5 minutes. He would have been like, "Yeah, I agree with you, Giovanni. I agree
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, I'll do
it was
that."
almost a
I'll do
20-minute video. We added an extra 30.
And that's only because there was discussion.
Mm-hmm.
That's only because there was discussion. And when you lead to that zero discussion, zero talking, a split between men and women, black and white, this huge difference in this world today, that's where you lead to these people in the world with extreme beliefs that some people gravitate towards, like anti-Semitism and religious defiance, because nobody else has anything to look to, and they're not going to look to me. They're going to be like, "What are you talking about? I know what you're talking about, but I don't want to trust you because you don't know enough yet, because you haven't built that table that he was talking about." But neither have they, and we need to stick together, because judging and talking and judging and talking is what leads to the powerful in power just using their power. Now, everyone needs to use their power, because everyone holds the same amount of power. It's a big myth that just different people that have different amount of power in this world. No, you have just as much power as everyone else on a different level. When you're together, you make the power of the most powerful man in the world. It's
Powerful man in
shown.
the world is 2 men. I think we should end it here.
Right.
What do you think? Please tell us
In the
helps-
comments.
In the comments, yes, in the comments. Help the algorithm. You know what you're doing. Help the fucking algorithm so that we can get better quality. And we can have a reason to not do this in his living room and build a studio. And we want to do all that stuff. And it's going to be nice. And you're going to enjoy this more when it looks nicer and sounds better. And have a nice day.
Thank you, guys.
Fuck Women's History Month.